Minecraft 1.14 is one of Mojang's most expansive updates, and luckily for me, it includes many new block variants, of which I've decided to build about 16 vehicles around, just for fun, right? And I thought I'd make it into a video. So, we're not going to be focusing on the functions or anything of the individual blocks themselves, more of how they can be constructed around and worked with, especially in the vehicular format. So, without further ado, let's get started with this big truck. This big orange truck is my rendition of a monster truck in the game. And what I want to focus on is my use of smooth red sandstone and smooth stone slabs, both of which were not available in previous versions of the game. I think they make fantastic looking metal chassis blocks, and the smooth sandstone blends better with the orange concrete than regular slabs would, which I used in the bed just to make it a more segmented piece, because obviously a monster truck is meant to be taken apart and put back together quite quickly. That's all I really want to say on that. I'm pretty proud of this. This was the first one I made, and these are kind of in chronological order in the order I made them. So let's move on to my golf cart. This golf cart, of course, could have been built in any previous version containing quartz slabs. However, what makes this one different is that I used smooth quartz slabs, which gives it a better flow overall, and there's no ugly border, which I think makes any build look pretty nice and smooth, and this is not an exception. Also, you can sit in it, which I think is amazing. That's all I really have to say about this. I didn't really use any other fancy blocks. I just thought, a golf cart using wither skull heads as wheels would be nice. I could also use grindstone as the wheels, but I chose these just because their color contrasts better with the quartz than the grindstone did. On to the next one, which is a fairly basic truck considering everything else that's here. However, again, I used the smooth quartz slabs and stairs in order to give it a smoother feel, a better overall paint job, because in reality trucks aren't segmented like they would be in squares if I used regular quartz. And I think it turned out alright. That's pretty much all I used. I did use smooth stone slabs for the bed, which I think also works great and it allows some contrast. But just like the golf cart, it also is possible in previous versions of the game. I just think it looks a little bit better. This next one is one of my personal favorites, which is a go-kart. Now, realistically, this is easily done in previous versions of the game, but just like with the quartz over there, I used an andesite stair because I thought it would be more smooth, basically. That was more of an excuse to include this because I love this design. Obviously, this isn't possible in survival because of the barrier, but you can easily remove that and it looks almost as good, if not better, considering it's more of a flatter profile, and you can sit in it, which is also very excellent. I mean, you can sit in anything, makes it 10 times better in my opinion. On to the next one, which is also one of my favorites. This lorry. Now, where I live, you don't really see many flat-fronted ones like this, but I started building it with the intention of having a long front, but then I realized that would be pretty difficult, and I'd rather this style anyways, because it fits the loom very nicely. I think just the flat profile and everything makes this grill fit very well. Also with the others, I use smooth quartz in order for a smoother transition between blocks, and the new anthracite pillar just as a chimney, because I think it looks very good and better than what the cobblestone would look like. It's the smoothest one available since there is no actual stone pillar itself, so I think this is an excellent choice. These two next ones were some of the more difficult ones simply because of their small scale. As you can see here, this is the first rendition. I tried to just incorporate these black concrete blocks in order to make wheels for a bike, and then I realized the existence of grindstones, and I think I made a much better version. Obviously, it's not perfect, and there aren't really many pure red slabs, so I had to stick with red netherrack, or nether brick, but otherwise, I think it turned out pretty nice, and if you want to leave a comment which one's your preferred one, that would be fantastic, but I'm pretty sure that one is mine. This next one is close to one of my favorites, but not quite. This, of course, is a rendition of a Pace Aero camper van. Of course, I won't be mad if you don't get it. It isn't the best rendition, but I think it is pretty good for what Minecraft can offer. It is the only one with a full interior. I used barrels for cabinets because I thought it would be an excellent way to incorporate into the side. Of course, there's not very much room to do your business in here, but that's beside the point. I used the new diorite slabs for the floor because I thought, a nice polished, shiny floor would be customary for these sorts of things. My favorite part, though, is the dashboard using the lecterns. Now, this is the only spot I used lecterns in these builds, but I think they fit rather nicely with the windshield, considering the amount of space left in. The rest of it's pretty basic. I mean, you've got the new stairs texture and a sink, but outside is where the real money is, as I think. This barbecue is my pride and joy. I'm really happy with it, and I managed to use two new blocks, the stone stairs and the smoker, of course. I really wanted to use the smoker in order to make it sort of functional, but also look pretty good, and then the scaffolding as chairs is really nice because you can have fun on them. Also, the campfire is cool. I love the new campfire block. It is amazing. I just thought I'd add it here for aesthetic. Doesn't really do anything else for the build. But, on to the next one, which happens to be one of my least favorite ones. This is my rendition of a steam tractor in Minecraft. I tried to use spruce in order to replicate sort of a rusty look of one that someone who lives near me owns. Of course, that one wouldn't be this big. One of my main gripes with it is the wheels, which I tried to make look like steel wheels, but obviously, in real life, these would probably be painted black in order to last longer, just because this would rust. It's generally open metal. One of the main features of this build is, of course, the smithing table here and the blast furnace is here, trying to give it a functional appearance. I don't really have anything else to say other than that I could definitely make it better if I rebuilt, but I'm going to keep it as is in order to show my thought process, just the way I think. Plus, I'm kind of lazy and I want to get this video out. So, that's about it for this one. On to the next one, which I hate even more. Actually, not to say I hate that one, but I definitely hate this one. This is when I tried to recreate a Ford Model T in Minecraft. That's why it is black, because Ford Model Ts only came in black. I kind of added this as a poor excuse for a grill because I needed to do a 1.14 block, and I just thought, okay, well that would fit nicely. It didn't, but I thought I'd keep it anyways for the same reasons I kept there, except if I ever built this on a server or on one of my survival worlds, I would probably break it right away because it is hideous. But, yeah, I just thought I'd show my thought process and see how it comes out. Now, this one is a much better rendition of the same era car, in my opinion. It is what I tried to make a luxury car, sort of the 1920s area, except it turns out much better, and I think just because of the overall proportions and the fact that I get to use these nice blocks here, which are obviously new to the update. That's why they're in the car. There isn't really much to say other than that this was probably the most difficult model to build. It is very, very hard to get this position right, and I think I did an okay job. I'm quite proud of it. The only gripe is, of course, is the spare tire here, which needs a redstone torch or a redstone block to stay upright. And of course, that kind of ruins the aesthetic if you have some sort of big chunky thing right there. So it's not too bad. I also make it a little hidden engine bay. Just thought as a little Easter egg. Of course, this is my world only, so that's the only time it has ever been shown to anyone else. On to the next one. This is my rendition of a top fuel dragster. If you don't know what a top fuel dragster is, it's basically a dragster shaped like this, with the engine behind where the driver sits, and a whole lot of power. They do the quarter mile in less than 5 seconds, which is fantastic, and it creates a lot of G-forces, which means the car has to have a lot of things to withstand these forces, such as a parachute, which I used a skull head for. I think that's pretty funny. The main thing here is I used birch signs just to kind of get it looking less awkward than if it was just a flat slab, and of course the blast furnace, which I used for the main block. This, of course, being the supercharger on top. There isn't really much else to say on this other than I really like it, and I hope you do too. This one is amazing, and I think is amazing. This, of course, being a troop carrier. Now you can see, before I get into it, I used blast furnace in the engine bay, just to kind of give it a little more technologically crude look, I guess. That might be the wrong word, I'm not sure. But the main thing, obviously, is the mossy cobblestone, which I think makes a fantastic camouflage. Obviously, it isn't realistic. A realistic one would be entirely green, shades of green. This might be a worn down one or something, but I think it's the best possible result. There isn't really much more to say. I didn't really add anything else except for an interior, which I'd love to show. It uses the new kind of crouching mechanic. I wouldn't be able to get in here with a previous version of the game, which I think is fantastic, but it's obviously pretty sparse, and you can access the engine bay from here. That's about it for this one, so let's move on to the next one. It seems like I'm stuck in here. Hold on a sec. I'll get myself out. After freeing myself from that death trap, it is time to look at another like death trap. This, of course, is my only non-wheeled vehicle here. It uses tracks, and I think the grindstone makes a fantastic inset for tracks. I tried to make these as small in scale as possible while still remaining kind of track-like, so I had to kind of sacrifice some continuity with the upside-down stairs here. but otherwise I think it is a fantastic build. These of course are the headlights and the turret. Same thing goes with the other one, except I used of course andesite and polished andesite stairs and slabs as well. This one is also accessible inside, but it's pretty closed off, so I'm not going to go in there. You can just kind of look through at the cockpit. There isn't really much going on. This one I think is one of my favorites again. I just love the way it is, and obviously please don't get mad at me if it is wrong in some way. I didn't use any Google images for these. I just kind of went off my own head. So this isn't any particular tank. It is just a tank. So yeah. But if you have any suggestions for what I can change for it, please leave in the comments any suggestions for any of these vehicles you think I can change, or any future videos involving vehicles or other builds, because I love making these videos. It's so fun. Anyways, on to the next one. This one is very similar to the truck I did before, which means it is bland compared to the other ones. Although I still am very happy with this one. I was kind of running out of ideas at this point, but I wanted to get an even number, so I just kind of stuck out to the end. This is what I think is a sports car. I mean, you might think it is different, but I tried to make a sports car here. One of my favorite things, and this is kind of unrelated to the update, is I used doors for the headlights, which I think is cool. The only problem is of course the handles are on opposite sides. Gives it a kind of googly-eyed appearance. Like the truck, I used smooth quartz to make the body. There isn't really much else to say, other than what I said before about smooth quartz, it being not segmented and less awkward looking. I think it's a pretty nice build. I would include this in a city if I built one. I might build one in the future, you never know, right? But anyways, on to the next one, which is one of the craziest ones. Crazy in that it is like the monster truck, except it is probably road legal, which is kind of terrifying considering its size. Also, like the monster truck, I used smooth sandstone, red sandstone, except this time I used it for the whole body, which I think looks a lot better. If I were to redo the truck, I would probably use the same method as here. There isn't really much else to say, other than I used the same structure as the monster truck with the stone slabs, which I think is an excellent block. And that I included an ATV on the top using the same strategies I used for the second motorcycle, using these grindstones, which I think are a fantastic and underrated block. They can definitely be used for more than just wheels and grindstones, as wall pieces or otherwise, right? I don't really have anything else to say, so I'm going to do a quick flyback and review, and then we're signing off. So at this time, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you pick a favorite vehicle, put it down in the comments. That would be wonderful. And if you have any suggestions for new uploads I can do, like builds or builds on Tooncraft, or like projects in general, or anything, the world would bloody load, then please hit me up in the comments. That would be fantastic. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Goodbye.